Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heidi, and this is my partner, Leslie. For those of you that don't know who we are, we're local realtors in the area. We love giving back to the community, doing different events. We love doing food drives and toy drives and coat drives, helping the Long Beach Mission. And this is a little bit special because now we're giving back to you guys and doing something for you guys to help you in your lives at your home. And so we've invited Terry. We actually partnered with Terry and her husband Brian and sponsored this event. We hope you guys enjoy it. Terry and Brian are local. I'm sure all of you know that. And they're compliance educators for safety and emergency preparedness. So we're super excited. So take it away, Terry. Oh,
and really quick, we have a flyer for each of you. We have another upcoming event in May, and we're going to be actually having a little informational, fun happy hour to talk about estate planning. So if you don't have your estate all set up with a trust and will, we're going to be talking all about that with an estate planning attorney at Wilmore Wine Bar, and we'd love to see you there too.
Yeah. All
Thanks
right.
for coming.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you, Heidi and Leslie, for sponsoring this event tonight. I'm very happy to have all of you here. My name is Terry Jetmore. That's my husband Brian. We are longtime Long Beach residents. We live in Bixby Knolls here for California Heights for 37 years. What we do is we're compliance educators and safety educators. So tonight we're going to do a specialty workshop for our neighbors here about emergencies are happening right in the neighborhood as we speak. So we wanted to ask a question. And first of all, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. And if you have started to get ready for emergency preparedness, that's great. If you need a little help, we're going to give you some help tonight. If you haven't done anything yet, you've taken the first step by just being here. So give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing a good job, okay? So the first question is, are you ready? I'd like a show of hands. Who here feels that you are good to go if anything happens? You're all ready for an emergency. Bill, I know that to be true, okay? How about, I've got some things together, but I think I could improve. Okay, very good. What about, I've done nothing to prepare? Okay, good. So this seminar is for everyone. So this might look familiar then to you.
I'll pack the dead batteries. Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can figure to do a list for us.
Thanks, Bill.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Okay, so that's the source of a lot of this information is ready.gov, which is a FEMA website, and we'll talk about that later. But that scene of that family may look familiar to you, right? Not quite prepared. So tonight we're going to talk about what we're going to learn, okay? First of all, you've got to get some information. You need to be informed. Get your plan together, and each of us here have very specific needs because our lives are completely different. So it's good for us to review and understand what our specific needs are. Then it's a matter of putting those things together. How many here have a go bag? Okay, very good, that's excellent. And then once you have that together, I know some people were saying, I had a go bag that I put together, I can't find it, I don't know how many years ago I did it. That's many people's experience. So maintaining your kit and your go bag is essential because your needs and things in your life change, and then also things are old and they need to be replaced. And then you need to know the plan and practice it. So some of you here have children, so it's important for you to really have your plan together for the kids. And then some of us are a little older and we have specific needs. Okay, so question to you. Why do you think it's important for us to be prepared before, during, and after some type of disaster or an event? This is interactive training, so you can just shout out what the answer is or raise your hand, whatever you prefer. So why be prepared before, during, and after? Any thoughts?
You're just standing there going, oh, what am I gonna do?
What do I do, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
Alicia?
not-
Yeah, you'll better be able to respond to that emergency if you're prepared.
Very good. So, your chances of survival are a whole lot higher if you prepare in advance. Also, another thing to consider is resources. So are the police and the EMTs gonna be at every person's house if something happens? No, resources are limited, and you need to understand that. So if you're prepared, you're not gonna be one of the needy people, and they can move on to help someone else. And then it also allows you to quickly respond. So many of us have everything that we need for our go bags in our house, or pretty much most of it, but it's not in one place. So if we're told to evacuate, and many of our friends that have lived up in Santa Barbara and other areas where they had wildfires, they had less than 5 minutes to get out of their house. Will you be able to run around your house and get all the right things in 5 minutes for your disaster or emergency? It's not gonna happen, right? So doing it now while nothing's going on is a good idea. So you can quickly do that, and then you can assist others and think clearly, because you've already walked yourself down the road of, if this happens, I will do A, B, and C. I have a list in one of my closets at my house, and it's basically, I've got 5 minutes, what do I do? And what do I grab, and where is it? So, you know, we have a variety of go bags and things that are in different places in the house, but I have a list to tell me, so that when something happens, that's what I look at, and I've got 5 minutes to do those 5 things on the list. So that's a good idea for people. So what kind of things happen in our area? What are you familiar with as far as disasters or things that have happened in our area? Just shout it out, whatever you think. Flooding, yes.
Earthquake.
Oh, it just happened last week. How many felt that? Okay, I didn't, I wish I did. It was a little one, right? But bigger things are coming. Anybody else?
Power failure.
Yes?
There's been shootings.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is part of this emergency preparedness, because you sometimes have to shelter in place and understand what's going on when that occurs. So these are just a list of the things. You know, when we had COVID, that was unexpected, wasn't it? And then the lockdown was unexpected, that you had to be home and people couldn't go to work for a while, and working from home. So it changed a lot of things. And we've had, in the neighborhood, you know, we've had the water, there's been things, toxic things in the water. Okay, so all of these things have occurred in California recently. Here's just a quick clip. Let's see if it goes. No, it didn't go. Okay. We're gonna move forward. So, earthquake. When an earthquake occurs, what are you supposed to do? What were you taught to do when there's an earthquake?
Get in the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone else?
Under a table.
Very good. Okay. Yes. Did you have a thought?
Same thing that he just said.
Okay, under a table. That's the right answer. The get in the doorway, that's old school. Okay, that's not a thing anymore. And the reason being is that the doorway is not really any stronger than anything else in your house. Okay, so the idea behind having, getting under the table is that it's gonna help you to have a space around you. So this is what the new paradigm is of what to do. You drop, you cover, and you hold on. Those are those 3 things that you remember. Okay, let's see if this goes. Okay, so I had Lucy from Caltech, but the suggestions that she was giving us is that the reason why the doorway doesn't work is because it's not strong enough. You don't want to run outside, okay? You don't want to be subjected to power lines. There's glass that could potentially be broken. So the safest place is interior walls of your house. Like in our house, we have a hallway that has 4 doors. There's no windows in it. That's the safest place for us if something's happening. We also have a very strong dining room table. So that gives you that space. Let's say it hasn't happened yet, but our houses are like 100 years old. So if we had a really bad earthquake here and things really started coming down, but we've got the big dining room table that we're under, we've got space. So it allows us to not be suffocated, right, by things crumbling.
Well,
So-
if you're not near a table, you're upstairs in the bedroom. Is the doorway any better, or is it the hallway?
It's not the doorway, because normally people stand in the doorway.
Right.
So we're gonna talk about that. Standing, is that a good idea?
But you said the hallway and the wall.
Well, hallway, yes.
Yeah, right.
Inside your hallway. Close those doors so that there's no glass, right?
Close, okay.
Close those doorways. So we drop. Why do you think it's a good idea to drop? So you can fall. Exactly, because, you know, here it is. Everything's moving. You could potentially fall and hurt yourself. And it helps you from not getting knocked down, right? So crawl to that closest shelter, whatever it is. You might have a desk at home. Maybe you don't have a table to get under, right? So you've got to figure out what your house is that's best. Then they suggest that you cover. As you drop and cover your neck and then crawl with that one hand, okay? And get to the closest shelter and grab onto it and just hold and wait. interior walls suggest, right? Again, away from windows and things that could potentially fall. If you had bookcases and things like that, you don't wanna get near that, cause it could topple over. Stay on your hands and knees. So this is, oops, uh-oh. This is an important element here. Can you get back in presentation mode? Stay on your knees and bend over. It protects your vital organs. So this, your spine is actually a very strong part of your body. So the whole idea of crunching over and doing this is that it's gonna take care of your, some major organs that you got, okay? So just remember that. Let's see, okay. Sorry about that, okay? We're gonna hold on. And just as a reminder, of course, we all have common sense to know not to get into an elevator if you, let's say you're at work and that occurs, or you're out in public. Stay away from utility wires, power wires. For us, most of our power, it's all in the alley, right? So you wouldn't want to go out in the alley. You're driving, something's really crazy, pull over to the side of the road and don't go under any overpasses, right? Again, you can buy straps, safety straps for things like your bookcases to hold them in place and keep them from falling off the wall in the event of the earthquake. So, question, who here has ever discharged a fire extinguisher? Okay, so we've got one, I have two, so we've got a couple of us that have done that. So, how many of you though have a fire extinguisher at your house? Excellent, right, very good. So most people have it, and have you had your fire extinguisher for a long time in your house? Okay, probably, right? So a couple of things about that is that the longer they sit around, they sometimes can lose their charge. So recently there was a fire in Bellflower at a condo complex, and a flat fire in a kitchen, and the guy's fire extinguisher was not fully charged, and it burned many units. Okay, it affected a lot of people. They were displaced. So nobody looks at that anymore. You're supposed to really inspect your fire extinguishers.
See, all these fire extinguishers here that have a tag, when you're in a place of business, especially like a medical business, but any public place here, they have to have an outside service confirm it. Okay, so that's why these things come out. The ones you buy at Costco, they'll come with a teeny little tag. The only purpose of that thing is just to know how old it is and if you're checking it regularly. So like an OSHA requirement is that you look at it every month and you want to make sure that that yellow arrow is up in the green. A lot of these things lose pressure, about 1 in 10 do. And the problem is you're counting on that being there for when you're going to need it the most. Okay? If you've never used a fire extinguisher, they're very easy. Okay, you're going to remember the acronym PASS. Okay, the P stands for pull. You're just going to pull this pin. It's a safety, so that way you don't accidentally discharge it. Okay, it's just like grenades, which we've all used. Okay, P, pull the pin. A, aim. Let's say if this was on fire here, you see all these flames coming up. I don't want to blow it up here. You can actually blow the flame on something else. You always blow it at the base. Okay. And the first S is squeeze, the second is sweep, back and forth. You've got about 30 to 40 seconds of pure firefighting time thrust with this. You don't have to do, but you don't need it all at once. You can just do a little here and there if that's necessary. But one of the things that the sad reality is that we have a big enough earthquake, you'll lose the water pressure, you know? And if the fire trucks, you can't have it, I mean, they can only carry so much water on board with them. So every household really needs to have one of these, because small fires turn into big fires real quick. And your neighbor's fire could turn into your fire too quick too.
Very good, thank you for that, Brian. And so if you have one, and you've never discharged one, they're not that expensive. Do yourself a favor and play around with it. Get comfortable with it. Just buy more than one. You should really have more than one. They're not that much. You can have small ones, large ones, whatever works for your family.
What's the expiration on them?
They'll last for about 3 years and still be they can actually last much longer and still be operable, but it's just kind of where they've been stored, the temperature, there's a lot of variables, but in a place of business, the maximum is going to be 2 years. Okay. Like that. But anyway, if it's more than 3 or 4 years old,
Get some extras. Any other questions about that? Did you have one? Okay, all right. So, the question next is what kind of person are you? Okay, this is not a judgment question, but you have to understand, are you the kind of person that really is just gonna need help? You really, you freak out when things happen, you're scared, you get paralyzed if something uncomfortable happens. It's okay. If that's how you are, then just know that, admit that, and then preparation is different. If you're the kind of person that can help others, you'll prepare differently. You'll get extra resources. Mr. Bill over here, he's really prepared, so I know he's a neighbor I can count on. Brian and I prepare for other people too, not just ourselves. So, not everyone is gonna take the time to be prepared for emergencies, but we wanna help our community, right? We want everyone to stay safe. So, make this plan. What kind of plans do we have? There's your personal plan, right? It's for your house, and then also you've got one for a workplace. So, many of you have prepared your go bag. They suggest to have a go bag in your car. And if you have go bags in the house for running out, like put them together. We also have a special cabinet outside that's all emergency preparedness stuff. If let's say we had to load up and evacuate to another area. When it comes to your family, it's not just you and your kids, it's your pets too. They're like family, so you have to prepare for them. Think about food for them, water for them, ID, different things, leashes. And then for a workplace, sometimes these events will happen while you're on the job, and then you're not gonna be able to go home. If there was a large earthquake and you worked in downtown LA, freeways are collapsing, you're not going home. You're staying put, you're sheltering in place. So that's why it's good to have something at your workplace also. And practice and talk to your coworkers about it. So, what are some of the first things to go when we have a natural disaster?
Internet.
The internet goes, yep.
Gas,
Water.
electric,
Mm-hmm.
water.
Power's gone, telecommunications are down, the water, we might not have city water. Have any of you ever turned off the water main for your house? You know where that is, and you know how to do that? Good, okay? If you don't, practice. It's simple. Takes 2 seconds to do it, make sure it's not stuck, right? And then also access, if trees are down. Recently when it rained in the neighborhood, huge trees that were 100 years old fell down just right off of Bixby. And, they can't come and get rid of that so quickly, so you don't have access to where you wanna go. So, getting your plan together. We used to say, prepare for 3 to 5 days. I like to say 7, then that way you'll probably do 3 or 5. But we need to expect that the services will be out. We have let's just say we don't have electricity for a whole week. I mean, we live so much with charging and phones and computers and flipping on the lights, we just do it without thinking. But we may not have power for an extended period of time. My family back east, when they have crazy snow events, they've gone for 2 weeks with no electricity and no services, and nobody can go to work or do anything. That's a long time. So, we'll talk a little bit later about the FEMA app that you download, and it will talk about evacuation routes. Okay, so right now they're not posted, nothing's happening, but they will post evacuation routes if there is a disaster. Okay, who is your support network? Do you have a lot of family locally, or are you just here by yourself? Do you have your friends like your family? Or your neighbors like your family, or is that your support network? Figure that out, right? So who are your people that are gonna look out for each other and check in with one another? Hard copies and also electronic copies of important documents. What important documents do you think you would need in the event of a disaster?
Are you thinking for the disaster, or are you thinking?
Why would you need to have hard copies of important documents in your go bag? Why do you think you might need that?
Identification.
Yes, ID, so like a copy of your passport, your license, right?
If a damage was done to your house, you're gonna need copies of your homeowner's insurance.
Homeowner's insurance, your mortgage, the fact that you actually own that house. Anything else?
Health insurance.
Health insurance, all those things, right? So the more information you have, so it's a good idea to have some hard copies, because the internet may be down. So, have a file. I have, you can have a little zip drive that's got it on that, and you can have that in there so that if there is power, and email that to yourself, put it in the cloud, or a family member, maybe out of area. When FEMA comes to town and they're gonna start handing out money because a disaster's occurred, the more information you have, the quicker you get the cash. So, have some information, put it together. It doesn't take too long to do it. rehearse your escape plan, right? And then plan to help other people if you can.
I don't know if you have another slide that's gonna address it, but for households that have children, especially, you have another slide for that? Okay.
So kids are part of our plan, right? So we're doing this right now, mentally we're preparing for this and thinking ahead, okay? And think about your emergency supplies. Again, you probably have a lot of things in your house. How many people here have ever taken a CPR class? Very good. How long ago was that? Is it recent? Okay, so we did you a favor. We printed out some basic hands-only CPR sheets are here, just as a reminder. You don't have to take a class if you haven't taken one in a long time, but just learn the basics. And we're gonna have a short little video that'll remind you of what to do. It's not necessary to do mouth-to-mouth anymore. I had to do CPR on a man at a train station recently. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. Talked about the fire extinguisher, right? Learn how to use it. Has anybody heard of the CERT training? You know what that is? Mr. Bill knows that. Community Emergency Response Training. It's a free class that most cities provide. It's usually a 3-day intensive, 3 full days, and it's to get you fully trained to be a helper in the community if something happens, okay? It's free. And City of Long Beach just had one starting today. They haven't done one in here in a while, but you can go to Norwalk or Cerritos or any of the other towns and do it. And they're starting to do an immersive where you can do part of the classes online and then just go do a 1-day in-person skills test. All right, and then learn where the evacuation notices, we talked about that, the FEMA app. So what we have on the tables is some QR codes of things you can scan with your phone, and it will take you to FEMA and all their resources, and there's a few other resources that we recommend you download. Okay, your go bags. What's gonna be in your go bag? Anybody that has a go bag, what's in your go bag?
Shoes.
Shoes, good.
Water.
Water, good.
Gloves.
Gloves, what kind of gloves?
Leather.
Very good. Okay, leather gloves, right? There we go. Why do you need leather gloves, George?
For picking up, going through the rubble.
Very good. Yep. So you need to have some food, right? So, we've got some suggestions here on our little show and tell table, but, you need to make sure that you're gonna have enough to take off, let's say, for 3 to 5, maybe 7 days. There's high protein bars that it's like 1 bar is like 1 day's worth of food, enough calories, 3,000 calories. I've got tablets here that are just a couple of tablets will last you for the day. So think about the food that you would carry, right? And then your water. The formula when it comes to disaster preparedness, and it's not to be on your person to take on your back, right? But it's 1 gallon per person per day. So if you're saying, I'm gonna prepare my family for 7 days to have no help, I need to have, Alicia, you've got 4 kids. So 6 people in your house, so you do the math on that, that's a lot of water. So communications, all right, well, your phone can go dead. We've got this little thing called the Jackery, right? It's battery powered. I don't know, Brian, if you want to say anything about this.
They make a bunch of different varieties of these ones. It's basically just a big battery. This one's got the built-in inverter, so you can plug 110 into it. It's got USBs, and it's got the new kind too. Something like this is awesome because you can take it wherever you need to be. I got it on Amazon. It was a Black Friday deal. I think I paid like just about $200 for it.
What did you call it? What?
It's basically a portable power
called the
bank.
Jackery.
Power bank.
Yeah, power bank. They go by a couple different names. Sometimes they even call it like a solar generator, which this things don't generate; they just store. But the thing about it is, you can keep it at your house, plug it in, and you've got X amount of hours. Like in this one here, it's got 300 milliwatt hours, I think, or 30, or anyway. So it's probably enough to keep like your TV and stuff like that going no problem. You can probably go for a couple days. Stuff like that. You're not gonna be running your fridge. Then you have to do like a step up. But they make these things like different sizes, real cheap too. The primary thing you're gonna probably need it for is communication. So your devices and stuff like that.
So those are good to have. They come in a variety of prices, 100, 150. Amazon has them all the time. Costco has them sometimes. So think about that. And then have some power banks, some portable chargers, always on hand. And a radio is a good idea, right? We happen to have a ham radio operator in our neighborhood, so we're thankful for that. So money, why do you need money in your go bag?
Credit cards won't work.
Very good, electricity is gone. You need to have cash. Credit card's not gonna work, you need small bills. Why do you think you need small bills?
Cause the stores won't have change.
Yeah, the stores aren't open, first of all, so you're gonna be buying water from me because I have so much of it. And you know, you've only got a $20 bill, I'm sorry, I don't have change, so that bottle cost you 20 bucks. So, have smaller bills, figure out how much cash you need. How much money do you think you need to have?
500 each.
There's no right or wrong answer to that because we're all different. The more you prepare, the less cash you need. That's the formula. Think about it. If you've got all your stuff together, you're not worried, you're not nervous. Okay, there's an earthquake. Okay, I don't have power. I'm not nervous. I'm gonna relax, read a book under candlelight, right? So again, those documents are important. Think about those things. And again, Heidi and Leslie are having a seminar that they have a flyer here for that talks about your will and your trust and those kinds of things. And it's a good idea to have those things electronically scanned too for your go bag. Okay, additional ideas, right? We talk about first aid kit. How many of you, well, I'm not gonna ask you. Many people take medication. They're on prescriptions. So, in the event of an emergency and you run out, you've got some problems there. So it's a good idea to see if you can get an emergency supply, okay? So let's say you're diabetic, you need to have extra insulin in your go bag, you need to have sugar tablets in your go bag. So get some things to consider as far as medications, extra medication for whatever you take in the event that pharmacies are shut down for who knows how long. Of course, we've got clothes. I have a couple of pillowcases in my go bag because I've got clothes in there, so then that's a pillow. If I had to go crash somewhere on the floor, I've got my own pillow with me. But pillowcases will do it for you. Little kids, you know what you need for children, right? Especially babies. There's a lot of things they need. And then school-age kids. This is an important one. A hard copy photo ID. Just a picture of your kids, hard copy. Oh, because we keep everything on our phone, and my son is missing, oh wait a minute, my phone is dead, I can't send you a picture. So have a hard copy of your children so that if somebody's looking for them, that'll be faster, okay? Part of it is getting your kids to be involved. So your son is not too young to get involved. This could be a fun family trip of getting things together. You could do like a scavenger hunt in the house. Here's the list, let's go find all these things. Get them involved, and that helps reduce their fear and anxiety if something happens, right? So think about that. Network with your friends and family. If the phones are out, how are you gonna get into contact with your kids? You're at work, he's walking home from school. Where does he go? Is there a house in the neighborhood, safe place for him to meet up? Do you have neighbors that would take him in and that know him and say, this is safe, I'll take care of you? So those are good ideas, right, when we have children. If they were home alone, what would they do? You need to have that conversation. It might be hard to do it, but you need to have that conversation. Of course, our pets, you gotta have food for them. Another thing is you've got to have an ID for them because there are people all day long that are looking for animals. So like when Katrina happened, animals just went berserk, right? There were teams of people that flew down there and they just went to reunite people with their dogs. And they get to, that's a thing, you know, people do that. So if you don't have a hard photo of your dog or cat or whatever, you may not get that service. So also think in advance, if I'm at a shelter and I'm not allowed to bring my dog to a shelter, is there someone else in the neighborhood that maybe didn't have to evacuate or out of area that could take care of my animal? Think about that. All right, so we have our small go bags, things that we can hop on our back and we go. Then we've got stationary kits, right? So maybe something a lot larger that if we had time, we're gonna maybe load into our car, and things that are at our house. So think of your PPE, it's your personal protective equipment. You know, you need masks. Why do you think you might need masks in the event of some type of disaster? Yeah, think about the wildfires, right? When that was going on, it's like, you know, people had to really be careful to not get smoke inhalation. Maybe there's dust from earthquake. If you're doing cleanup, it's good for you to have masks. So, and like George said, the leather gloves, right? Little whistle is always good. It's easy to get somebody's attention if you've got a whistle in your backpack. We've got some things here. This pry bar. Ryan's gonna do a little show and tell in a little bit, but these are good to have. Why do you think you might need that?
Can't get out of your house.
Yeah. Earthquake, everything goes like that. Can't get out of your windows, your doors. You can smash it, you know, whatever you need. How are you gonna stay clean? Right? Think about that. What would be something you could pack in your go bag or have in your backpack or your stationary kit that would help you with your
Baby
hygiene?
wipes?
Baby wipes are perfect. Yep. We all might have tons of leftover hand sanitizer. Throw that in there, right? Have that. We may not have running water, so you're gonna have to conserve your water. You're not gonna be taking 10-minute showers anymore, so think about that. And you might need the shelter in place. I was at a garage sale and they were getting rid of all kinds of little tents and stuff. I just grabbed them all. Because somebody might need to be in my backyard in a tent. I might need to be in the backyard in a tent. So those are good things for sheltering in place. Duct tape is always good too. All right, we talked about water, a variety of water. So it's really about sizes too, right? Does anyone here have a rain barrel at their house? Great, that's good to have that, right? So we can't just buy 5 gallons because it's too much. You can't throw that in your go bag. You need a variety of things. I have, that came in this pre-purchased bag, you can buy water in foil pouches, kind of like a Capri Sun, and that's got a 25-year shelf life. And it's squishy and it goes in a lot of little places. So those are good to have, on top of course, having other sizes. So just think about a variety of water. You're gonna need it, not just your drinking, but figuring out how you're gonna bathe, wash your clothes, things like that. Water filter, bleach, purification tablets. So these they sell at Costco every so often, these life straws. And so it'll clean up your water. I've got a little bit of bleach in my go bag. There's a formula to put it in water and it'll kind of.
You wanna say just a little bit more about those life straws?
Well, they take out bacteria. There's a lot of, let's see. Well, it says they filter up to 1,000 gallons. So, I mean, you put one of these in your backpack, and if you had to take water that was sitting in your rain barrel, right, then you could filter that.
Yeah, you just, you suck kind of like a straw.
Yeah.
And that's the osmotic pressure to, you know,
Yeah.
go through. It may not taste great,
Yeah,
it's any free from.
You know, you can buy these other filtering systems that are more convenient, right? Because this isn't great. But if you're thirsty and you need to drink some water, it's small and compact, so it's not bad. And then we have purification tablets too. So once you put your things together, maintain it, right? Practice what you're gonna do. Talk about it. And then even the last time that we had, it was basically the shelter in place for that big atmospheric rain event, right? And it was raining and they told everybody to stay home. I took that whole day to get all my go bag stuff out and just look at everything and think, okay, I have to shelter in place today. I was kind of pretending. And I looked at everything and reevaluated it. So that might be a good idea for you to take some time to evaluate, reassess what you have, update your items. Sometimes you might have flashlights in there and the battery's been in there for a long time. Then you open it, oh, it's all crusty, it's not working. Okay. So store your batteries maybe outside in a bag. And then inform others. Tell your people, this is my plan. Talk to your family, right? And then when we talk about special needs, so kids are considered special needs because they can't do everything for themselves. They're limited in knowledge and experience. Maybe somebody hearing impaired or you're caring for somebody elderly. We happen to care for my mother-in-law 1 week out of the month and she can barely walk. She's got a walker. So, you know, the other 3 weeks, it's just Brian and I, we would be fine. But if we've got my mother-in-law with us and we've got to get out of the house quickly, that's a whole other deal for us. So we have to consider those things. And everybody, you know, depending on the disability that you have, right, there's going to be challenges that people have. And when you're dealing with maybe someone that has mental impairment, dementia, something like that, they're going to get real rattled because it's going to be a change of everything for them. So these are things to consider. So this is something to get us on an up note.
Whatever happened to you? Harmless game of charades based on film titles turning into a sudden cardiac event? Bam! Shaklacky! No? What? Think it's better than me? Well, it happens, alright? It's a real life situation! Got my daughter here? Call 911? Push hard and fast! Okay? Focus! And yes, the beat of staying alive really works. Shut up!
It really does work, that's the beat. There's many songs you can use.
Yes, disco. Check it out. What do you think? What? It's party!
Okay, it's a little silly, but there's some handouts there on how to do basic CPR, like what they said in that video. Again, I was on the train about 3 months ago, heading to LA, and a man went down. He had been drinking, so I thought, well, he's just had too much to drink. But then I realized he was non-responsive. So, part of the thing is, sir, can you hear me? And is he breathing? No, he wasn't breathing. So I had to, there were tons of people standing around watching this event happen. And so part of the calling 911, when you're in a group of people, if you have to do CPR, you don't say, somebody call 911, because then everybody's gonna think everyone else did it. So you need to look and say, you call 911, and I need to get you to respond to me that yes, you did it. And then I keep doing my pushing, right? To that staying alive beat. And the guy made it. Not necessarily because of anything that I did, well maybe, but he had overdosed on some things. So we had some first responders that had Narcan. And so they gave him that, and then he responded and he came back. But at least we kept him going until those first responders got there. So I'm a CPR instructor, but I had never done CPR on a real live person because I don't work in the medical field. So to actually do it was kind of a crazy experience. All right, so there we are. Just check for the response, call for help. If they're not breathing, do those compressions. Okay, so here's the way you can get started right now. Some apps that you can download. The FEMA app. Okay, there's barcodes to scan there, or you can just look at the app store on your phone and download FEMA. And this is what it looks like. So the FEMA app, when you call it up, it will, if you click on that prepare, it's gonna have lists of things for you to do. And you can also get alerts. We live near the water, so have we had a tsunami? No, but you know what, some earthquake activity has been happening abroad where there potentially could be something like that happen. So you can say, I want a tsunami alert on my phone. So they've got all kinds of disaster alerts. It's in a few languages, so that's helpful. So it's a great app. Ready.gov is an app that FEMA has created that has additional tools. And then Alert Long Beach is great. They have all kinds of resources. And Shake Alert LA is all about preparing for an earthquake. So it specializes in just earthquake preparedness. So I suggest you get those apps on your phone today, and then at least you took the first step of preparedness. Okay, so what's next? Make yourself a promise. This week we're going to talk about getting ready. We're not ready enough, okay? And then put things together, maybe put a deadline on your phone. 3 months from now I want to be completely prepared, or a month, or 6 months, or whatever. Something reasonable, right? And get things ready. So, these are the resources of people that we got information from in our training today. Brian is going to talk to you a little bit about what we have up here. Are there any questions? He's also going to field any extra questions that you might have. So does anybody have any questions about what we've discussed so far? Yes?
Whereabouts do you live in the area? Sounds like you're pretty well.
Louis,
Yeah, Lewis and Bixby at 37.
Okay, we're on Lemon, so
Okay, and we
we're coming
lived
over.
on Lemon for.
We're at your house, okay.
Yeah, right, you can come over, we share the same alley, okay? We're at the 3700 block of Lemon.
Okay.
So, put that in your pocket there, attach this here. And Brian grew up here, I've been here 37 years, as long as we've been married, but he grew up on the same street that we live on, so.
My parents met and married here in Long Beach. My mom went to Poly, I went to Poly, I go around Jack Rabbits. Just before I forget it, I want you all to leave here feeling empowered that you're gonna do something and walk away with a good feeling about this. You're already a step ahead. We're not doomsday preppers. We're not thinking that, just the reality is we live in Southern California and we have earthquakes happen. Under the city of Long Beach, there's actually several earthquakes. There's the Inglewood Newport Fault. There's another one go by a strange name, and they crisscross under Signal Hill, parts of Long Beach. And once it starts going, we're probably gonna see an extended period of seismic activity, a lot of aftershocks and stuff like that. So just, you're all to be commended just for being here. And wherever you're at, just start wherever you're at. Okay, don't get overwhelmed by this. Don't get overwhelmed. And just something to do, because we're not overly obsessed, but every now and then, if it comes to mind, your family just say, okay, stop. Earthquake, what would you do right now? And sometimes we'll just do that when we're watching TV or we're doing something else. It's like, oh gee, what would I do? And it's like, okay, gotta move over to the spot in the hallway that we know safest. Something that I always have in my mind is gloves and flashlight and shoes. Because, good chance it may happen at nighttime and you want to be able to get on the roll there. We've got all kinds of stuff here. Let's start with this stuff. Do you folks recognize this thing here? This is a gas key for your gas meter. You get them at Harbor Freight for like $2. Okay? And it's just a simple little thing. You've got, depending on the gas meter, some of the newer ones have automatic shutoffs, and so it depends. But if you see, you'll see this thing it's about 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch wide by about 1 1/4 inch long. And that's what it fits in this hole, this rectangular slot here perfectly. And almost all these things will come with a little zip tie. If not, I'm sure you got a zip tie. Tie it to the gas meter. So that way you don't have to go look for it. You just pull it off. Because the number one problem after earthquake is going to be fires. And that's why it's kind of a big deal to have fire extinguishers and things like that. And have lots of water too. There is a different type of key that you're going to need to shut off your water. Okay. Let me revert back to the gas. So if you live in a home here in Long Beach, chances are you already know where your gas shutoff is. For those that might live in an apartment or condos and something like that, you may not know, in which case you need to ask around and find out. Because, these pipes and stuff like that can only take so much bending and stuff like that, and we don't want all that fuel to, escape there. Water, one of the first questions Terry asked was, well, why get prepared? I'll tell you why. It's like, if you were dying of thirst, how much would you pay for this? Well, you're gonna pay for that if you're dying of thirst, okay? Now, for $20, you can get yourself 4 cases of water at Costco, okay? Otherwise, you could be spending $20 probably on something this in short supply, and people are wise to, husband their resources to kind of, keep control of it there. We are always thinking that we need to have not only just enough for ourselves, but enough to help others too. And that's why you kind of want it in a variety of sizes. Some of those 2.5 gallon containers, those are good because, well, you got a couple of gallons right there. And although they're substantial, they're not so heavy that you can't manage them. Especially if you get one in each hand, there's 5 gallons right there. So you can one at that. And you always want some of the little bottles like we see in the back here. Those are perfect for people that are just thirsty right now. Because, you don't want to have to give somebody an entire gallon if you're low on water and they just are thirsty. So, that's why it's good to be thinking about one of those lines as well. Let's say flashlights and stuff like that. Say again? Food bucket. This is one we got at Costco. Oh, like that. This is my brother who lives in Montana where they are dealing with power outages and stuff like that. He turned me on to this stuff. I think this has got 75 meals?
275.
275 meals. Okay. It'll keep you alive. Is it going to be, 5-star restaurant quality? Well, it depends on what you do with it,
You're saying it comes with a supply of these meals?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
275 meals in there.
Just don't put 75 pancakes.
But it's dehydrated, so
Hold
you
on
need
now.
water.
Okay.
So that's the other thing is
Ah.
that's great for food supply, but you're gonna need additional water to hydrate that.
I like the way he's thinking. I like pancakes. During emergency, you want some emergency pancakes.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, it's good to think about having a cooking source there. So if you already got a propane barbecue, you've got one cooking source there. They make those little tabletop burners that use the small things with butane and stuff like that. Those things are actually pretty inexpensive, and you can keep a few bottles. That'll probably last you for, I'd say probably 2 or 3 of those probably last you for a week if you were making a couple meals every day. Yeah. These are cheap things, so you'd be surprised for just under $100 you can probably get 90% of the most critical items for sure. So don't it's not an all or nothing equation. Just start wherever you're at, and then that's what we did. And then we just kept adding to it there. How about some questions? Any things on your mind regarding food, batteries, flashlights, and all that? George?
Any ideas about like this, something called a fire blanket? I got some for my tenants and for myself. So I instead of them being able to fumble around with the extinguisher. So
Brilliant. Those are better. If you have them, just most facilities don't. I think it's good. Do you have a input on that?
They suggest that people have that. Some people get more intimidated with the fire extinguisher panic, so the blankets are good. They should also have an extinguisher in the house too, but yeah, the blankets are great.
Where did you get yours, George?
I think I found it on Amazon.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
What kind of price points?
It was about, I think you could buy 3 of them for about $40 maybe.
Huh. What size were they?
I haven't gotten them out, but I think they're like 40 by 40 or something like that. So it comes in a little package like that, and it's got rip cords on it. You pull it out, and it comes out and just unfold and throw it on the flames, on the fire.
Nice. We should have a slide for that too. Okay, quick word on flashlights. I've got rechargeable and batteries. I recommend you use both. Okay, the reason why is the rechargeable ones I keep charged up and so to be ready, to go. But however, if you don't have a power source, your rechargeable batteries, once they're out, you're out of luck. So that's why you want just some good old-fashioned regular battery flashlights too. And they make it in a lot of different formats. They have some that are like a little lantern. One of the ones that I like, and these were, again, almost all this stuff that I've got is at Costco. This was like a package of 3 for $19. It's a little brick of a thing here, and it's got this kickstand. I'll tell you, I've used this thing more like around the house when I'm working on projects, because depending on what you need to do, you can just sit there. If you need to light whatever you need. It's got a high, a low mode, and then also a one where it does an SOS if you just need to flag somebody down. Canned food. Almost all canned food has an expiration date, but it's probably still good. All right, just a word of caution though. You proceed with caution on that. If it starts looking puffy, yeah, you don't want to open that can. Don't even open it. Just
Can opener too. Don't forget that. We've got things
You
that don't
don't?
have snapped out.
Toilet paper. Did you cover toilet paper?
No, I didn't talk about it.
Okay. Buy toilet paper. You don't want to, otherwise the stores will get wiped out. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. All right, what else? You talked about meds and all that. It's not a bad idea if you've got a ton of meds. It's like I've got, I think at CVS, you can print off a sheet ahead of time, which is good because sometimes they'll have, you know, maybe depending on how long an emergency lasts, they'll have like local pharmacies or, you know, an equivalent thereof. But you've got to have some kind of documentation of what you've been taking there, so that's a good idea too.
Some people ask about the pre-packaged go bags versus making your own. You know, buying one online is great, but typically they say that people that take the time to pack their own and really know what's in it are more invested in their emergency preparedness. So it's not to say that that's bad. Having a combination is good. Let's say you really want to just get something now, order something, that's fine. Costco sells them too, Walmart sells them online. But take some of your kids' old backpacks and then start to think about what you put in there. So we suggest that you pack it yourself or buy pre-done and add it to it.
Yeah, good. Why don't we go ahead and let's see, is there any other housekeeping issues? Did we want to address the group again for anything else?
We're good. We just want to thank you guys. This was awesome.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you want, we can turn those lights on. Come up, take a look at some of the stuff we have here. See what a go back looks like.
More snacks. We have some
Yeah.
snacks back here.
Make yourself at home.
And the brochures are all there for your use, so this is, LA County gives these out, it has a list in it of things that you might need, and, it's easy to get started. You got your checklist, suggestions for you, all that stuff. Emergency contact list, so, just to get you started.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is a good thing. It's
Yeah, that's ours.
and it's a radio too. Sweet.
Good, I met you at the,
Yeah, everybody needs.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.